Hi starseeds, it's Opheana and Sikaal here. Today we are sharing more information with you about your Ascension consciousness and the initiations that you move through on your Ascension process. We are cosmic shamans and teachers of universal consciousness.
We've shared with you in the past that from our point of view, your number one spiritual tool is your energetic pillar. We do that in all the meditations. We've done a few videos on that. We say it all the time. And as you know, repetition is helpful because you remember this stuff and it's very important. So again, the pillar, for those of you that may never have heard of it, which shouldn't be too many of you, you expand your heart energy to 6 feet in all directions. Breathe it and connect it down to earth and then up to source. So you're in your own energetic signature. This is sort of the stable base for all of your energy work, calling in your temples and your teams and everything. When you do multidimensional travel, you do it in your pillar. So next to your pillar, one of the amazing, powerful tools that we find has helped us so much on our journey of our own ascension consciousness is the ascension consciousness scale. And we often still find when we work with our clients and do readings and things like that, that a lot of people haven't utilized it for the powerful tool that it is. It's kind of like they eat their meals with just the fork and they forget they have a knife and also a spoon. And this is one of those basic three, is your ascension consciousness. But not just your own, also from your environment. So when you really take some time to study the Ascension Consciousness Scale, which is free online, we have it in a PDF form and online, to read the different categories, you'll get an understanding of, well, what is this 3D world about and what is this fourth density world about that we're creating together and the timeline we're moving into. You'll understand, well, what is the ascension consciousness level of the people that I am surrounding myself with on a daily basis in my work and my family, my relationship, and the places that I visit, the events that I go to, the things that I engage with, what movies do I watch, what things do I like doing, and you can sort of gauge, am I actually engaging in frequency resonant activities? So if things are draining you, it could be because they're just not frequency resonant. You're hanging out, for instance, with people who are of a very different frequency than you are, and it's no longer suitable for them or you. And so this is where we find that we really want to reiterate the importance of the Ascension Consciousness Scale, because it's easy to kind of fly over it as, oh, it's interesting. It's a scale of where, you know, when you become ascend more and you're more enlightened, you raise in the scale. But it's so much more than that, because it states how much love and light you can hold in your field, meaning how much have you let go of old initiations, how much have you moved through those initiations is a better way of saying it, how much have you grown spiritually, and how much of your spirit are you embodying here. It really helps you as well to see through the illusions that are projected continually at you from the 3D world. People have masks on, events and situations and companies, and there's masks and veils everywhere. So as a sensitive being, it's sometimes hard to understand, well, what is the true reality of this situation? When you work with your Ascension Consciousness Scale, you can really pinpoint, well, I know now where this frequency resonance is. And it's much easier to start creating a world where you always can be matching with the frequencies around you. This has also led us to the guidance that a really quick way for you to assess what is your ascension consciousness level, but also more information about what is your willingness in your current initiation.
Yes, so the Ascension Consciousness level you can receive through us via the Ascension Consciousness level reading. We now have 3 readings. So we have the Ascension Consciousness reading, we have the Energy Body tools, the Energy Body reading, and we have the Ascension Consciousness level reading, which is a little bit of a mini sort of reading, which gives you a huge number, the number, which is the level of your consciousness. That is, as Sikaal said, a huge tool to assist you to see where you're at and to keep assisting you, because to be honest, we see it a lot in the entire world that people can be doing, you know, their spiritual growth, etc., but they're stuck, or sometimes going backwards, you know what I mean? So you can have a time of opening where you're feeling very courageous and you surrender and you let go and you move through things, you make choices and you go, wow! And then after a little bit, you go, oh, it's comfy here.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I did that. So what we're suggesting is to revisit your Ascension consciousness level or introduce yourself to it and really study it, because we have found that it's a key to assisting you to not be in denial, to not be naive with yourself and especially with others.
Yes.
Naivety, it can save you a lot of issues.
So many dramas.
So many dramas. So your Ascension consciousness level is a key importance to just really get to know, like just absolutely know where you're at all of the time. You can study muscle testing if you really want to master it yourself, to find out how you can do it yourself. It takes a lot more work when you're doing your own, so do a lot of clearing. You have to be in a very centered space, let go of all attachment, use a lot of different energetics to get yourself into the right space to get your own. And if you're testing other people, making sure that you have no attachment of what their number is, they have no attachment in relation to you, and that's where you can find that number, or you can ask for a reading through us. The other numbers that are on the Ascension Consciousness level reading are, the second one is your general overall willingness. So this includes your willingness to align to spirit, your willingness to listen to spirit, and your will. This is your personality's willingness, your overall lower energy body's willingness. And the third one is your willingness to change and let go. So they're the three key ones that are in the bigger reading. And so it's an overall general willingness. And that's a really nice one to just keep watch on. Okay, so where am I at here? Am I still moving? Because it can go down. In times of stress, you can squeeze in, you can become the turtle and say, no, I'm not willing. I'm staying right where I am.
I've grown enough now,
I've
enough
done
already.
all of that, yes.
I'm staying where I am for a while. But
things are going very well. I'm not going to keep
Exactly, and that's when you lock down. We've said it in one of our previous videos as well. It's when you're like, you sit on the bank of the river and you just stay there, and that's when your willingness goes down.
Yes.
But that's just the general willingness,
Yes.
which we often find is even higher than the willingness to go through current initiation.
Always, from our testing and the many readings, and just with clients and people in life, we've done some research, a lot of research in relation to initiations, because you can see a general overall willingness is pretty good. Maybe 90 and over. That's where we like to work with people, because there's a movement. But with current initiations, even the most willing can still have areas where it's just really tough. Like it's 70% willing, 75% willingness to move through this initiation, because it's like, that's the one area. No, don't go there. I am not shifting that. I will not let that person go. I won't move there. I won't let go of that. I won't shed this energetics within my system. I need to hold on to my identity. There are so many areas for different energetic signatures where there's specific circumstances in life where there's just a stubbornness, a fear, a deep wounding that holds the willingness low. And so looking at all of the beliefs around that area of why your willingness is low, and that's where you can just gradually bring that willingness up, bring it up. Okay, so why am I not willing? All right, well, I'm really terrified. What happens when I do that? Or there's just so many unknowns, or I'm going to hurt that person, and that person, or they'll all leave me and I'll be alone, or I'm going to lose money if I do that. I will definitely lose money, and that's my, retirement, or, all of those kind of fears. And then just, well, what if I die? What if I become so spiritually high vibe that I literally just, I'm way too high frequency for my children, my family, my friends, etc. how can I just keep raising and keep raising? It's easier and better if I just stay here. And we do see that. We do see that with a lot of higher frequency people. They sort of hit on a 800, 850 kind of zone, and it's really hard for them to go to that next level of full let go, full spirit trust, where you just let that spirit move into your lower energy bodies and trust through the initiations. Even though the personality is still saying, that's really scary, you still do it because you can feel very strongly Spirit's guidance.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, you're working so hard on your spiritual development, you're doing everything, you're doing all the meditations, you're doing all the clearing, whatever, everything you're doing, but you're wondering why things aren't moving.
Yes.
It's often this variable. Your willingness to move through your current initiation is blocking you. And you may think, well, 75%, that's awesome. That's like pretty close to 100. It's not. 75% is actually really pretty low for a high-level spiritual initiate. For a starseed, you want to have it in the 90s, 95% or up to really get things revving at the level that you can move through as a high-density starseed. You know, when you see percentages of willingness like 30, 40, 50%, that's a no budge. That's a concrete wall. Nothing's moving.
That's not going to
That's 30, 40, 50% or even lower. When you hit in the 70s, it's like, I'm willing to think about it, but it's still a brick wall. You're still not going to move on it. And so if a lot of your life is ready to move on, but the key area isn't, you need to leave that relationship, you need to leave that job, you need to sell that house, you need to let go of that money investment so you can be free, you need to move state or country, you need to.
Just let go of a whole concept, like parenting.
Yeah, or the voices of family in your head of who you were meant to be, etc. And all of that type of stuff, who your personality believes you need to be, whatever your main initiation is to move through, that's where it's stuck. So allowing that willingness to grow by doing beliefs, by looking at what you're afraid of, what are the worst case scenarios if you truly want to move through that, and a lot of you do, but you might not know how, or you might kind of put the blinders on in this particular area. Well, you're not going to move forward if you don't face this one. Like anything you know on your spiritual path, you've got to face it head on and then work through it one step at a time. A first big step we find is to actually know where you start with your willingness. And if you know that it's low, then you can start chipping away at it. Then you know that's what's actually blocking you from making those moves forward. This is why we found it so very vital to know this. Next to just knowing where you are on the Ascension consciousness scale, because it gives you an idea of where to start from. And that all of the work you're doing, I mean, we found it so hard to grab all of the stuff we did and where are we in relation to the world and in relation to what are we doing and where are we moving to. And now we know, and it's so nice to be able to monitor and track that. That's why we found it one of the very important tools right next to the pillar. So revisiting the Ascension consciousness scale and getting connected into the numbers of these readings, very vital from our point of view.
Yes, and I just would like to add the the news of your Ascension consciousness level can go down. It can go down hard and fast. You know, it can go down with choices of where you spend your time. It can go down with who you spend your time with. It can go down with not moving through the initiation. This is the key area of, you know what, I'm just not going to do that. I know that I probably need to do that, but I'm going to just sit where I am until I see more comfort in that area. What's going to happen is your frequency is going to just sort of melt down a little bit, and it's all good. We just want you to know that that's what we're witnessing, and so you can do a lot of work to get to a certain level, and you're really there and you're really in that surrendered space, trusting Spirit. But the constriction in your energy, you know, the turtle bringing your head in, or the snail and like, understand, stay in my comfortable little zone. Even though you're still doing your meditations and you're still plodding along doing your work, you can come down like 100 points or even more. So we just really want to
based on the environment you're in as well. Like if you go to a job that no longer suits you, you can drop 100 or 150 points on the scale every time, and then you do your meditation, you expand, and you go back lower, and you expand, and you go back lower. it's almost an insanity cycle,
Yes.
honestly, because your spirit just wants to move you forward, embody more love, light quotient, more spirit coming into your vessel. Your personality is a vessel here for your mission, to have you live the, you know, mission-oriented, starseed, amazing lightworker life that you chose to be here while being of service to the world.
Yes.
And so by you doing the yo-yo in your ascension conscious,
useless,
hanging out with people that are no longer resonant with you, going to jobs that are no longer resonant with you, and then do your meditation and expand again. It's like the yo-yo effect. It'll drive you crazy. It will drive you crazy. So choose what spirit is guiding you and expand in your ascension consciousness, moving forward. And it's okay if you fluctuate a little bit, but making the big yo-yos all the time, it's just really hard on your system.
Yes.
And it's not what spirit is guiding you towards. So it means you are stuck on moving through your current initiations due to fears or worries or not trusting spirit, not trusting your path, etc., etc. So we invite you to look into that and start chipping away at those beliefs, those negative thoughts and those fears, so you can move beyond and then action the choices that spirit is guiding you to
Yes.
do. It is that simple, and
Yes.
it's not easy, but it is that simple.
Yes, grow your muscles in change. Be a change, like a
Warrior.
spiritual master.
A change warrior
Get
master.
those muscles growing in the
Yeah.
change area.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yes,
very important.
very important. And so another little tip the team was reminding me was to be a witness when you are in a situation. You may feel like your frequency is going down, but you actually just feel really bad because your frequency is here, but you've spent time here. And it's like, you feel a bit toxic. So your frequency might still be up here, but you just feel bad. And so you're like, oh, my frequency must be going down. But it's actually because you're not in alignment with your truth. When you come back into alignment, you're like, all good. And the other thing is that if you're, let's just use a group of people as an example, you turn up, you're at a really high frequency, you can barely sort of be in contact with them, but unconsciously, consciously make a choice to sort of, connect with them on their level, get rapport, and then you're like, oh, this feels really good. I actually feel really good. What has possibly happened is you've lowered your frequency to be able to resonate with them so that there's a comfortable thing. So they feel comfortable, you feel comfortable. But when you come away, it takes work to get back up to where you were, if you do go back up to where you were. Because what can happen is you kind of get into a bit of a, a rut in like Sikaal said, the yo-yo. It's like you can yo-yo back up, back down, but then you sort of, So be watchful of that, and, it's just worth it. It's just really worth it to be conscious. It depends what you want in your life. It depends if you want a really good human life, which you probably already have. If you don't, make some huge changes, simple. If you don't have the spiritual consciousness that you want, if you don't have that feeling of inner knowing and deep wisdom of remembrance of who you are, it's just worth it to really go there in these areas, to up your frequency, to up your consciousness, and to truly step through with courage and with trust and faith and surrender through these initiations.
The team is saying, from a spiritual point of view, and all of you are very interested in that, or else you would not be watching this type of video. You'd be watching some other movie or something. All of the things that you truly want and the adventures that await you are at the higher levels of consciousness. That's why you've been driven as a starseed to keep going through your levels of consciousness. And sometimes your personality may think, what does it matter if I'm 600, 700, 800 or 900 on the scale? Who cares? I'm just doing whatever I want and I'm comfortable here. I got it pretty good. I got this, I got that sorted. But that's not what it's about. It's about connecting to spirit and trusting that so much more awaits you, like your multidimensional connections, like all your clair senses, all of the connections with high vibe tribe that await you down the track that you might not have now in your life, and many of you won't. So shifting through, getting out of the yo-yo and making choices to look at why your initiation is moving forward, looking at that willingness and expanding and expanding and expanding your consciousness, because it brings you so much more of what you truly want. next to physically actually manifesting the mission that you came here to do.
Yes.
And we keep talking about that, remembering your mission incorporates you being the happiest, most peaceful, most fulfilled individual that you can be, and being part of the collective that is moving forth into this fourth density timeline.
Yes, just one more little example. It's a little bit like being really thirsty, very dehydrated, and grabbing a soft drink, like a cola or what is some American Fanta, that type of stuff, same as Australia. Drinking that down, and you know that sugar sweetness, it feels like it's hydrating you in that moment, but then you have the aftermath of having to detox that, etc., etc. Whereas you have the water, which is the more high frequency version. In that moment of drinking, it might not be as deeply fulfilling sometimes as that sweet, sugary, that reminds you of a fruit drink or whatever. But over time, that's what's actually going to deeply fulfill you. That's the more healthy version of what you truly want. That's what your cells want. That's what your consciousness wants. That's what all of you in the end will be mostly supported by. But sometimes the mind is like, but that's just really yummy. And it doesn't mean that you can't have that human yumminess alongside it, but to be very watchful that it's not holding you back.
Yeah, and what are you guided by, and if you have the choice, what do you follow? It doesn't mean that you don't have any of the other, but it's what do you follow and what are you led by?
Yes.
So that's an extra there.
Yeah, beautiful. Well,
thank you so much, guys. Many blessings, and we look forward to the next time. Thank you.
Lots of love.
Cheers.